You know that old saying, right? That people start to look like their dogs? We've all seen it. That friend with a golden retriever who also happens to have golden hair and this super sunny personality. It's kind of funny, but you have to wonder, is there actually any truth to it? Well, we're going to dig in and find out. So let me ask you, has anyone ever told you that you and your dog kind of share a look? Or maybe the same vibe? Well, if you've ever heard that, you're going to want to stick around because it turns out those people might just be onto something. Because this whole thing, it might seem like just a quirky, funny coincidence, something to laugh about at the dog park. But it's actually not. There is real science behind this. We're talking psychology, we're talking about the choices we make, and really the amazing bond we have with our dogs. All right, so first up, let's get right to the most obvious part, the looks. Do we actually physically look like our dogs? Well, the evidence is pretty wild. So check this out. In study after study, scientists show people a picture of a dog owner and then a lineup of different dogs. And you know what? People are shockingly good at matching the right purebred dog to its owner. Way better than just random guessing. And it gets even more specific. They've found links between women with long hair and their preference for dogs with long, droopy ears. And get this, there's even a direct connection between an owner's BMI and their dog being overweight. So yeah, the resemblance can be very literal. Okay, so why? Why does this happen? Well, science has basically two big theories. The first one is pretty straightforward. We pick dogs that already kind of look like us. Maybe on some subconscious level, we're just drawn to what's familiar. The other idea is that we actually start to look more like over time, because we share the same lifestyle, the same habits. And just how deep does this picking a dog that looks like us thing go? Well, one study from 2015 is just mind-blowing. They found that people could accurately match owners to their dogs just by looking at pictures of their eyes. That's it. When they covered up the eyes, the accuracy just plummeted down to random chance. So it really seems to be all in the eyes. So what's the big takeaway here for physical looks? The science is pretty clear. It all comes down to choice. We pick dogs that look like us from the get-go. It's not that we're slowly morphing into our pets over the years. We just chose a dog that had our vibe from day one. Okay, so that's the outside. But what about what's on the inside? Looks are one thing, but this is where things get really interesting. Does this whole look-alike thing apply to personality too? I mean, think about it. If you're kind of an anxious person, are you more likely to have a jumpy, nervous dog? And if you're the life of the party, is your dog a social butterfly too? Well, you're not just imagining it. The science says a big, resounding yes. Yup, researchers have found really strong connections between owner and dog personalities. And two traits in particular really stand out. First, there's neuroticism, that tendency to be a bit anxious or moody. And second, extraversion, being outgoing, social, that kind of thing. So if you're a bit of a worrier, yeah, there's a pretty good chance your dog is picking up on that too. So how does this even happen? The magic word here is co-regulation. It sounds kind of academic, but it's actually pretty simple. Just think about any close relationship you have. You and your partner or your best friend, you kind of feed off each other's energy, right? A calm person can help an anxious person chill out, and vice versa. Well, it turns out that exact same thing is happening between you and your dog. You're constantly influencing each other's vibe. And here is the really cool part, the big twist. Remember how with looks, it was all about who we choose from the start? Well, with personality, it seems to be the total opposite. It's something that develops over time. One study even found that there was basically no personality match when a dog had only been with its owner for 2 months. So this means we're not picking dogs that already act like us. Nope. We're growing together, we shape them, and you know what? They shape us right back. Okay, this is where this whole conversation gets really, really important. Because if our personality and our environment have this much influence on our dogs, what does that mean for the big, serious stuff? I'm talking about behaviors like aggression. For a long, long time, the focus has been on breed, right? We've all heard it. Certain breeds get a bad rap. Pit bulls, for example, have been labeled as inherently aggressive, and some places have even banned them. But if what we're learning is true, if the owner has so much influence, then are we looking at this problem all wrong? Well, a huge study that came out in the journal Science looked at the DNA of over 2,000 dogs. And the results? They were absolutely game-changing. Look at this. Physical stuff, like a dog's size or its coat, yeah, that's over 80% genetic. No big surprise there. But behavior, personality, Less than 25% of that comes from their genes. Let that sink in for a second. What that means is pretty simple, but it's also profound. When it comes to how a dog actually acts, its breed is one of the least important things to consider. Your home, your personality, the way you train your dog, that is what really matters. It's a classic case of nurture being way, way more powerful than nature. And this isn't just a theory. It has huge implications in the real world. Just look at the places that have actually made a difference in reducing dog bites. It's not the cities banning breeds, it's the ones focusing on the owners. In Multnomah County, Oregon, they started a program to help manage the owners of aggressive dogs, and repeat bites dropped from 25% to just 7%. Wow. In Calgary, Canada, they saw aggression incidents go down after they brought in bigger fines for owners. You see the pattern? These policies work because they target the real source of the problem, the human at the other end of the leash. So let's bring this all back home. What does all of this mean for you? And for the dog maybe snoozing on your couch right now? Well, it means you have a whole lot more power than you probably realize. Instead of getting hung up on breed stereotypes, oh, he's a lab, so he must be, or she's a chihuahua, so she must be, the science is telling us to look at the individual dog, to look at the home you've created. Because our dogs aren't just passive roommates, they're actively learning from us and being shaped by us every single day. And if you want to get a bit more scientific about it yourself, there are actually tools for that. There's something called the C-bar-Q questionnaire. It's a bit of a mouthful. But it's this amazing tool that can give you real, objective insights into your dog's personality. We're talking everything from how trainable they are to how anxious they might be. It's a great way to really get to know the amazing animal you share your life with. So, it all comes full circle, doesn't it? We start by picking dogs that look a little bit like us, and then, over the years, they start to act a little bit like us. In a very, very real way, they become a mirror, reflecting the life and the energy we give them. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. If your dog is a reflection of you, what do you see?